They imprisoned her, just to hide her beauty, until the Alpha King discovered her. I once believed that the most terrifying thing in life was being locked in the darkness. Until that night. I learned otherwise. What is truly terrifying is the person standing at the end of the light when the darkness finally fades. It was the most powerful man on the werewolf continent. And it was my mate, the one destined to destroy my peaceful fate. The sound of the iron door being smashed open broke through my 17 years of imprisonment like a clap of thunder. I huddled on the cold stone floor, the black iron chains on my wrists making a faint clinking sound. That was no ordinary iron. It was mixed with silver or an obsidian, engraved with ancient runes to suppress werewolf bloodlines. My wrists were already rubbed raw and bleeding, but I dared not struggle, because I knew every resistance was met with longer periods of darkness, heavier chains, deeper fear. I kept my head down, listening to the chaotic footsteps coming from outside, a man's angry roar, the sound of blades being drawn, and wolves. The low hum generated by the pressure of countless wolf souls filling the air. I had never felt such pressure before, even through the thick stone walls. My body trembled instinctively. My wolf soul, that part of me that had been dormant since birth, issued a warning for the first time. Danger. I closed my eyes. Don't wake up. Please. Don't wake up now. I didn't know if I was talking to my wolf soul, or begging fate to spare me. In this ancient castle, everyone told me I was a monster abandoned by the moon goddess. My birth brought disaster. My existence would destroy the entire kingdom. So I had to hide in the underground forever. I could not see the sun. I could not appear before anyone. I couldn't even have my own name. They only called me that girl. But they didn't know. I remembered my name. Elena Vista. The name that once belonged to the last bloodline of the Astra royal family. It was the secret they feared the world would discover most. Your Majesty, please believe me. A man's hurried voice came from outside the door. It was Duke Edmund, the man who had raised me for 17 years, and imprisoned me for 17 years. For the first time, there was fear in his voice. That is just an abandoned dungeon. There is nothing worth you checking. Another voice sounded, low, cold, like a blade in a winter night. If there is nothing, why are you afraid of me opening it? My heart skipped a beat. That voice. Too powerful. Just one sentence made everyone outside quiet down. I had never seen this man, but my body felt his presence first. My wolf soul began to strike wildly against my consciousness, as if it had been waiting for many years, just for this moment. I bit my lip. No. Impossible. Lou. I wouldn't believe the legends of the moon goddess. I wouldn't believe in destiny. I wouldn't believe in this so-called mate. Because if fate truly existed, it wouldn't have left me to live in darkness for 17 years. Outside, Alpha King Cain Varlan stood at the end of the sewer. Rider. He wore black battle armor, a silver cloak draped behind him. He had just ended the Northern War. Within 3 months, he had defeated 3 enemy tribes, and was known by all werewolves as the youngest king of war. Ruthless, powerful, no one dared to disobey. But at this moment, for the first time, his silver-gray eyes showed uncontrollable emotion. His wolf soul was roaring. There. She is there. Cain clenched his fist. He hated this feeling. He had commanded thousands of troops. He had decided the life and death of countless people. Yet he could not control the ancient wolf inside his own body. From the moment he stepped into the Duke's castle, that voice had been there. Find her. Locate her. Protect her. He thought it was an enemy's magic. Until the moonlight shone through the tower. Until that ancient aura appeared in the air. It was not temptation. Not desire. It was a summons from the original bloodline of the moon goddess. Mate. He had once thought the word was just a legend elders used to bind the royal family. Until today. Your Majesty. The Duke stood in front of the iron door. His face had lost all color. You cannot open this door. Cain stopped. His gaze fell on the Duke. In that instant, the Duke felt as if he was not facing a man, but a black wolf ready to tear apart its prey at any moment. Tell me. Cain's voice was cold. What is in here? The Duke gritted his teeth. A cursed woman. A monster. Someone who cannot be seen. Cain's expression changed slightly. Cannot be seen. He approached slowly. Why? The Duke did not answer. Because he knew. The more he said, the faster he would be exposed. The next second, Cain drew his royal sword from his waist. The tip of the sword pressed against the iron lock. One last time. Open it. The Duchess's voice suddenly came from behind. You. Our Majesty. She will destroy your throne. Everyone turned their heads. Duchess Isabella stood there. She wore a deep red gown, her face still maintaining the elegance of the nobility, but her tightly clenched fingers revealed her true fear. Cain looked at her. How can an imprisoned woman destroy my throne? Isabella said in a low voice. Because she is not an ordinary woman. The air froze instantly. Cain narrowed his eyes. Go on. Isabella was silent. She knew she had said the wrong thing, because someone truly harmless was not worth her being this afraid. The iron lock shattered. Boom. The heavy door opened slowly. Cold wind poured into the cell. I retreated instinctively, until my back hit the cold wall. The man stood at the door. For the first time, I saw the outside world. And for the first time, I saw him. He was more terrifying than the legends of the Alpha King. Tall, rugged, high. His eyes were like a frozen deep sea. The aura on him made me afraid. But strangely, my wolf soul did not urge me to run. It was crying, like a child who had lost its home for many years. Finally finding a place to belong. Cain looked at me. His expression shifted from indifference to shock, because he saw my eyes. Silver purple. Exactly the same as the legendary Astra royal family. Impossible, he said softly. I didn't know if he was talking about my eyes. Or my existence. I tried hard to remain calm. If you are here to kill me. My voice was hoarse. Please. Do it quickly. Cain frowned. He took a step forward. I immediately retreated. But the next moment, his movements stopped. Because my chains suddenly emitted a dazzling silver light. And on his wrist appeared the same mark of the moon goddess. The entire castle, all the Werewolves, kneeled down simultaneously. The elder's voice came from behind the crowd. Trembling, fearful, incredulous. This is the moon goddess's covenant. The Astra bloodline that disappeared for 300 years has returned. I froze. Astra. The royal family that everyone said had been destroyed. Cain looked at me, for the first time. His gaze was no longer cold. It was complex, shocked, doubtful, and held a trace of a protective instinct even he couldn't understand. But just as everyone knelt, the Duke suddenly drew a silver blade hidden in his sleeve. The target was not Cain. It was me. He roared. She cannot leave here alive. The silver blade cut through the air, stabbing toward my heart, and for the first time in front of all his subjects, the Alpha King lost control, his wolf soul fully awakened. The silver blade was only an inch away from my chest. At that moment, I thought my long imprisonment was finally going to end. 17 years of darkness. 17 years of loneliness. 17 years of lies. Perhaps death was the only freedom. But in the next instant, a dark shadow blocked my path. Too fast. So fast that I didn't even see his movement. I only heard the sound of metal breaking. Clang. The silver blade in the Duke's hand was snapped in half by a bare hand. Cain Varland stood there. His back blocked all the light. His silver-gray eyes no longer resembled a calm king. They burned with beastly rage. You want to kill my mate? His voice was terrifyingly low. The entire underground hall fell into dead silence. Mate. The moment the word fell, my heart jolted violently. No. Impossible. I told myself. This was just the moon goddess's covenant. Just an ancient connection between werewolf bloodlines. It didn't mean emotion. It didn't mean love. And it certainly didn't mean that this man standing before me would actually choose me. Because I knew too well. I was never the one who was chosen. I was the one hidden away. The one abandoned. The one everyone thought shouldn't exist. The Duke's face was pale. He took a step back. Your Majesty, you don't know who she is. Cain turned slowly. I know more than enough. She is your prisoner. She bears the mark of the Astra royal family. And you have hidden her existence for 17 years. Every sentence was like a judgment. The Duke gritted his teeth. She is not the victim you imagine. She is a disaster. 300 years ago, the Astra royal family almost destroyed the entire werewolf continent because of her bloodline. My fingertips went slightly cold. This was the first time I heard someone speak of my past. Not a monster, not a curse, but a royal family. But why did this name sound so foreign? Cain looked at me. His gaze fell on my chains. At that moment, I saw the anger in his eyes. Not because I was royal, but because he saw I was hurt. Who put these on you? His voice dropped lower. I was stunned. What? He pointed to my wrists. These chains. I looked down. I had grown used to the pain. So I had even forgotten they existed. It doesn't matter, I said softly. I'm used to it. Cain's eyes changed instantly. Those two words caused a crack in his expression. Used to it. A young woman. Used to being imprisoned. Used to being hurt. Used to having no freedom. His wolf soul gave a low growl. Anger. Heartache. He even wanted to destroy this castle immediately. Tell me your name, he said. I looked up. This was the first time in 17 years someone had asked my name. Not asking for my value. Not asking for my lineage. Not asking if I was dangerous. Just asking my name. My throat suddenly tightened. Elena. My voice was very soft. Elena Vista. Cain repeated it once. Elena. Just 2 words. Spoken from his mouth. Yet it gave me a strange feeling. As if this name finally belonged to me again. Just then, the royal elder, Saran, stepped forward. There was no surprise on his face. Only fear. Your Majesty, you must take her away from here immediately. Cain frowned. Why? The elder looked at me. Because her existence will spark war. All the nobles in the hall lowered their heads. No one dared to deny it. The elder continued. The kingdom of black wolves has always been searching for the Astra bloodline. If they know she is still alive, they will do anything to take her. I laughed. The laugh was very soft, but full of irony. So, I looked at everyone. Am I to be taken away again? No one answered. I looked at Cain. From one cage to another cage. My words left everyone silent. Because they knew. I hit the mark. Cain was silent for a long time. Everyone waited for his decision. He was the Alpha King. He could command anyone. He could decide anyone's life or death, including mine. Finally, he said, I am going to marry her. The entire hall erupted. What? Your Majesty, this is impossible. The Duchess's face turned pale. You cannot let a lost royal family become the Luna Queen. Cain looked at her. Why? Isabella's voice trembled. Because she will take away your throne. Cain sneered. My throne has never belonged to any woman. He paused. Looked at me. But her life, I will protect. I was stunned. Protect me. I almost wanted to laugh. No one in this world had ever protected me. Cain approached. His aura was incredibly oppressive. But this time, I did not retreat. He whispered. Elena, you have 2 choices now. First, stay here and wait for everyone who fears you to find a reason to kill you. Second, become my queen. My heart pounded faster. Are you ordering me? No, he said. This is a trade. I looked at him. What trade? Cain leaned in. His voice was only audible to the 2 of us. I need your bloodline to stabilize the kingdom. You need my power to protect your life. This is a contract marriage. I was silent. As expected. No love. No compassion. Only interests. But just as I was about to refuse, Cain suddenly took my hand. Not roughly, but cautiously, as if afraid to hurt me. His fingertips touched my scars. The next second, his face changed. Because the wounds left by my chains appeared on his palms. The mate covenant was responding. He felt everything I had endured. Pain, loneliness, fear. His breathing became heavy. How long have they done this to you? I looked away. A long time. How long? I didn't answer, but his eyes already knew the answer. Suddenly, a horn sounded above the castle. Once, twice, 3 times. Every soldier's face turned pale. This was a signal of enemy attack. A beta soldier rushed into the hall, kneeling on the ground. Your Majesty. The kingdom of black wolves has crossed the border. They have brought a challenge from the enemy Alpha. Cain took the parchment, unfolded it. His face turned increasingly cold. There was only one sentence on it. Hand over the last Astra bloodline. Otherwise, war begins. Everyone's gaze fell on me once more. At this moment, I finally understood. I thought I had been imprisoned for 17 years, just because they feared my beauty, but now I knew, what they were truly afraid of, was my existence itself. And Cain looked at the challenge from the enemy nation, slowly looked up, said to everyone, from today on, anyone who wants to hurt her, is declaring war on my kingdom. But just then, Elder Saran suddenly knelt, his face pale. He spoke a secret that had been hidden for 300 years. Your Majesty, there is one more thing. You do not know. Elena is not the last bloodline of the Astra royal family. My breathing stopped instantly. Cain's eyes also showed shock for the first time. The elder said in a low voice, what is dormant within her? Is the first-generation Luna bloodline truly chosen by the moon goddess? And her appearance means the true werewolf throne is about to change hands. As the elder's words fell, the entire hall seemed frozen. I could even hear my own heartbeat. One beat, another, heavy, as if to remind me, my life had never belonged to me. The true werewolf throne. Cain stared at Elder Saran. His voice was cold. Explain clearly. The elder lowered his head. Your Majesty, 300 years ago, before the fall of Astra, the moon goddess descended a prophecy. The one who truly inherits the moon goddess's blessing will not inherit the crown, but will awaken the true king. Everyone looked at Cain. The pressure in the air grew heavier, but I only felt it was absurd. I couldn't help but laugh. So, my voice trembled slightly. I went from being a prisoner to a tool that will spark a war. No one answered, because the answer was already written on their faces. They feared me. They needed me. Yet not a single person had ever truly asked me whether I was willing. Cain looked at me. His eyes were complex. Before, when he looked at me, there was only cold scrutiny. But now, that layer of ice began to crack. Elena. I looked up. What? Do you think I want to use you? I didn't answer immediately, because I didn't know. This man was too powerful, too noble. He possessed the entire kingdom, and I didn't even know if I would be alive tomorrow. Isn't it? I said softly. You need my bloodline. Need my identity. Need me to be your Luna. Isn't that using me? Cain was silent. My words struck him, because it was the truth. He did need me. Politics needed me. The kingdom needed me. The moon goddess's covenant needed me. But, for the first time he realized, the woman in front of him did not succumb to her tragic fate. She was a fry. She was lonely. She had countless scars on her body, but she still dared to question him, dared to stand in front of the Alpha King and say no. What if I refuse? I asked. The nobles in the hall instantly became nervous. No one dared to speak to the Alpha King like that. But Cain was not angry. He just looked at me. A long time later, he said, I will not force you. I was stunned. What? The covenant can exist. The marriage can be a facade. But your choice must belong to yourself. This was the first time I had heard such words from a werewolf noble. My heart wavered for a moment. Very short. Short enough that even I didn't want to admit it. However, at this very moment, screams suddenly came from outside the hall. Subsequently, a black figure crashed through the castle gate. Blood spilled onto the ancient stone steps. Royal soldiers drew their swords one after another. Cain instantly stood in front of me. His movements were as fast as a reel. "Wolf, protect her," he commanded. I looked at his back, realizing for the first time, this man was not the tyrant from the rumors. He truly would stand at the very front of the crowd, blocking death for everyone else. The person who broke into the castle was an envoy from the kingdom of black wolves. His body was already severely wounded, but he still smiled. "Cain Varlin, you think that finding her means you've won?" Cain tightened his grip on his sword hilt. "What do you want?" The envoy looked at me. His gaze made me feel uneasy. Not greed, but fear, as if he knew something even I didn't know about myself. "We don't want her." Everyone was stunned. The envoy coughed up blood. "What we want is the thing dormant in her body." My face turned pale instantly. Cain narrowed his eyes. "Go on." The envoy smiled. "She is not the daughter of the moon goddess. She is the key sealed by the moon goddess. If she awakens, the entire werewolf continent will welcome a new king." The hall fell into dead silence. I felt a chill spreading from the soles of my feet. "What does that mean?" I asked. But no one answered, because all the elders avoided my gaze. They knew. They had always known. Cain turned to look at them. At that moment, his gaze became more terrifying than it was during the war. "What have you been hiding?" Elder Saran's face turned pale. "Your Majesty, answer me." The elder closed his eyes, finally saying the words that caused me to completely break down. "The day Elena was born, the Astra Kingdom was not destroyed by enemies. It was. Her power went out of control." My breathing stopped. "Ed, no." I shook my head. "That can't be." From childhood to adulthood, everyone told me I was a victim. I was the one abandoned. But now, they told me, maybe I was the source of the destruction. Cain walked toward me. I retreated instinctively. "Don't come near me." His P.S. stopped. I looked at him, tears finally uncontrollable. "If what they say is true, if I really will destroy this world, will you still choose me?" Cain looked at me. His gaze did not avoid, nor was there fear. He reached out, his voice low. "Elena, what I choose has never been your power. It is you." Just as his hand was about to touch me, my body suddenly suffered excruciating pain. The wolf's soul that had been dormant for 17 years awakened completely for the first time. Silver flames erupted from my body. The entire castle began to shake. All the werewolves knelt down, and I heard an ancient voice from the moon goddess, from the depths of my bloodline. It told me, "Find your other half. Kill the true king." I snapped my eyes open, looking at Cain, because the name the voice said at the end was not the enemy. Alpha was not the dark power, but this man in front of me, my mate. Kill the true king. The sentence echoed in my mind, like a curse and like a prophecy. I looked at Cain, the man who had just stood before me, saying he would protect me, my mate, and also the man the moon goddess herself demanded I kill. The silver flames gradually vanished. The hall returned to quiet, but everyone's gaze had changed. Just a moment ago they saw me as a lost royal. Now, they saw me as an unknown disaster. I could feel their fear. The nobles retreated. The soldiers tightened their grip on their weapons. Someone even whispered, "She has awakened. The prophecy has begun. The true king is about to appear." Every sentence struck my heart like a knife. Cain stood there, without retreating. Everyone feared my power. Only he still looked at me. I clenched my fists. "You heard it." My voice was very light. "Right." Cain was silent. "The moon goddess told me to kill you." The entire hall fell silent instantly. Everyone waited for his reaction. They thought he would be angry, would be afraid, would lock me up immediately. But Cain only asked, "Do you believe it?" I was stunned. "What? Do you believe that voice?" I looked at him, not knowing how to answer. Since birth, I had always been told what the truth was by others. The Duke said I was a monster. The Elder said I was a key. The moon goddess said I had to kill my mate. Then, what about my thoughts? What about my choices? "I don't know," I finally said. "I don't know who I am. I don't know why everyone is afraid of me. I don't even know. I looked down at my own hands. If I am a mistake. Kane's expression showed a clear change for the first time. He stepped closer. Elena. I looked up. What? Listen to me. His voice was not loud, but it made the entire hall go quiet. Possessing the power to destroy does not mean one is destruction. Being betrayed by everyone does not mean one has no value. Your fate is not decided by prophecy, nor is it decided by any throne. He paused, including mine. At that moment, a crack appeared in my heart for the first time. Not because of love, but because, for the first time, someone told me I could choose my own life. However, fate never gives people too long a breath. Just then, a war horn sounded above the castle, more urgent than before. A beta soldier rushed into the hall, his face covered in blood. Your Majesty. The Black Wolf army has surrounded the western border. The enemy Alpha has arrived at the border with 50,000 werewolf soldiers. Everyone's face changed drastically. Kane took the war report, scanned it quickly. His gaze grew colder. When will they arrive? The beta lowered his head. Before sunset. The hall was in chaos. The Duchess immediately spoke. Your Majesty. You must hand her over. My body stiffened. She continued. The kingdom of Black Wolves only wants her. As long as you hand over the Astra bloodline, the war can be avoided. I looked at her, suddenly laughed. So that was it. They said they would protect me just now. Now that war has come, the first thing they think of is still sacrificing me. You are not afraid of war, I said slowly. Everyone looked at me. You are afraid of losing everything you currently possess. No one refuted, because I hit the mark. Kane turned around. Shut up. His voice made the entire hall shake. The Duchess's face was ugly. Your Majesty, she is who the enemy wants. She will cause countless werewolves to die. Kane looked at her, his gaze ice cold. If the enemy wants to kill my Luna, then the answer they get. He drew his royal sword. The blade reflected the moonlight. Is not her corpse, but my war. Everyone was shocked. I was shocked too. Luna. What did he just call me? My Luna. But we hadn't even truly married yet. Kane didn't explain. He just looked at me. Prepare to leave here. I frowned. Where to? The royal city. And then, hold the covenant wedding. I was stunned. So soon. Kane looked at me. Because only by becoming a Luna recognized by the royal family will your status be protected by the laws of the kingdom. I understood. This was not love. This was politics. He wanted to use the status of queen to protect me, and also use the marriage to tell all enemies. Try to touch her, and you touch the entire kingdom. However, I didn't expect. The real danger did not come from the enemy nation, but from those around me. That night, we left the Duke's castle. Kane rode on his black war wolf at the very front. I sat behind him, leaving the place that had imprisoned me for the first time. The wind blew across my face. I closed my eyes, feeling the freedom. But the next second, Kane suddenly stopped. His body tensed instantly. What's wrong? I asked. He didn't answer, only whispered. Someone is following us. In the forest, came the low growl of a wolf pack. Countless pairs of green eyes emerged from the darkness. The royal soldiers drew their swords immediately. However, the dark shadow at the front walked out slowly. Everyone's face changed drastically, because that person was not an enemy, but someone from the royal palace. That was the commander of the royal guard, and also Kane's most trusted beta. He knelt in the snow, whispered, Your Majesty, I serve on the orders of the queen. Kane frowned. Which queen? The beta looked up, said a name. Your mother, Queen Elena. The air froze instantly, because Kane's mother had been dead for 10 years. I looked at Kane. For the first time, I saw this fearless Alpha King reveal shock. The beta slowly took out a bloodstained parchment. Your Majesty, the true conspiracy has only just begun. The bloodstained parchment was held in Kane's hand, but he didn't open it immediately. I could see his fingers tighten. That was not fear, but anger. The anger of being betrayed by years of trust. You say. Cain looked at the bee. ETA kneeling in the snow. This is my mother's command. The beta lowered his head. Yes, but. He paused, as if hesitating whether he should continue. Cain's voice turned cold. Speak. The beta took a deep breath. The queen left a last testament. If one day the Astra bloodline appears again, do not trust the royal elders. Do not trust the duke. Even. His gaze looked at Cain. Do not trust your own throne. In the forest, the wind suddenly stopped. I felt a chill in my chest. Because these words were not only a warning to Cain. They were also a warning to me. Cain opened the parchment. There were only a few lines of words inside. The handwriting had been eroded by time, but one could still see it clearly. My son, if you see this letter, it means the moon goddess prophecy has begun. Do not kill her. Do not imprison her. Because she is not a disaster. She is the one who stops the disaster. Cain's expression changed. Mother knew about her. I asked in a low voice. Cain didn't answer. His gaze lingered on the last sentence. That sentence made his face sink completely. The true enemy is not the lost royal family, but the person sitting beside you. I subconsciously looked around. Royal knights, beta soldiers, accompanying guards, everyone could be an enemy. This feeling made me uneasy, because I had been imprisoned for too long. I knew the most dangerous place was not the darkness, but not knowing who was lying. Cain put away the parchment. Returned to the royal city. All the soldiers acted immediately, but I didn't move. Cain. He stopped. This was the first time I had directly called his name. His gaze fell on me. What? I hesitated for a moment. If one day you find that I really will destroy your kingdom, what will you do? The forest was very quiet, only the sound of snow falling. Cain looked at me. A long time later, he said, if the whole world thinks you are a monster, I will ask you first, whether you are truly like that. Instead of believing them, my heart jolted violently, because what he said was completely different from others. Everyone was telling me what I was. Only he asked who I was. After returning to the royal city, the covenant wedding preparation began. The news spread across the entire werewolf continent. Alpha King Cain Varlin would marry a woman of mysterious status. No noble bloodline recognition. No family support. She had even once just been an underground prisoner. The entire kingdom was shaken. The royal palace hall. The royal council was convened. Dozens of nobles sat on both sides of the long table. The way they looked at me. No blessings. Only scrutiny. Sitting in the highest seat was the royal regent elder, Saran. He said slowly, Your Majesty, this marriage is too dangerous. Cain sat on the throne. His expression was cold. Where is the danger? The elder looked at me. Her blood, her identity, and the power she might be hiding. I stood there, listening to them discuss my fate, as if they were discussing a weapon. Finally, I couldn't help but speak up. What if I leave? Everyone looked at me. Cain frowned. Elena. I looked at him. If I don't become your Luna, if I don't participate in these power struggles, will everyone be safe? The hall was quiet. I knew what it meant to say these words out loud. It meant giving up protection. It meant becoming a fugitive again. But at least, no one would die because of me. Cain stood up, walking toward me step by step. All the nobles held their breath. He stopped in front of me, asked in a low voice, Do you really want to leave? I looked into his eyes, realizing for the first time, this man also had pain. He was not incapable of being hurt. He just never allowed others to see it. I don't want to be your burden, I said. Cain was silent, then reached out, gently taking my hand. His palms were warm, in sharp contrast to my cold hands. Elena, do you know what an alpha cannot accept the most? I shook my head. Losing their territory. No. Losing power. No. His gaze deepened. It's watching their mate believe that they have no value. My breathing stopped for a moment. Just at this moment, a huge explosion suddenly came from outside the palace. All the soldiers drew their swords instantly. A guard rushed into the hall, his face pale. "Your Majesty, the royal city barrier has been broken. The enemy army has entered the royal capital." Everyone was shocked. "Impossible. No one can break through the royal city's defenses," the guard said with a trembling voice. "It is not an external enemy. The city gates were opened from the inside." Kane's eyes turned icy. "Who?" The guard knelt down, his voice shaking. "It is the Queen's Guard." The entire hall fell into dead silence. The Queen's Guard. Only one person could mobilize them. Kane looked at the blood-stained letter. His face lost all color for the first time, because he finally understood what the warning his mother left meant. The true enemy had always been beside the throne. The next second, the palace gates were smashed open. A group of black-armored werewolves rushed into the hall. Behind them walked in a woman, wearing a queen's robe, with a smile on her face. She looked at Kane, said softly, "My child, you finally found that girl." Kane's pupils constricted. "Mother." The woman smiled. "Kane, you are still like you were when you were a child, always too ready to believe in others." She raised her hand. The black-armored werewolves behind her all knelt down. "Let's get reacquainted. I am Alina, your mother, and the person who truly controls the key." Engdom now. The entire hall erupted with shock. The nobles retreated. Elder Saran's face turned pale. "Impossible. The queen has already been dead." Alina looked at him. Her smile turned cold. "All of you hoped I would die. So you believed it. But no one ever truly confirmed it." Why body stiffened. At this moment, I finally understood. In this world, death could also be a lie. Kane drew his royal sword, pointing the blade directly at the woman. "Who are you?" Alina looked at him. There was even a trace of sadness in her eyes. "I am the woman who gave birth to you, and the person who lost everything to protect you." Kane did not waver. "Protect me." His voice grew colder. "You sent people to open the royal city, letting enemy troops enter my territory. You imprisoned my mate. You call this protection?" Alina looked at me. Her gaze made me uncomfortable. Not like looking at an enemy, more like looking at the result of a successful experiment. "Elena." She called my name softly. I felt a jolt in my heart. She knew me. "You know me?" I asked. Alina smiled. "Of course. I was there when you were born." The air froze instantly. I felt my blood turn cold. "What?" Alina approached slowly. "When your mother died, she handed you to me. She believed I would protect you. But she was wrong." She paused. "Because I discovered a secret." My fingers tightened. "What secret?" Alina looked at me, speaking word for word. "You are not the last successor of the Astro royal family. Your mother was also not an ordinary Luna queen." Kane frowned. "Speak clearly." Alina did not look at him, just stared at me. "Your true bloodline is more ancient than the royal family. Astra is just the inheritor. And your bloodline," she smiled, "comes from the first werewolf blessed by the moon goddess." The entire hall was quiet. I heard my own breathing. The first werewolf. That was the starting point of all legends. Werewolf Elder Records. In the ancient era, the moon goddess created the first batch of werewolves. The most powerful of them was called Moon Shadow Bloodline. They possessed the power to change werewolf forms, able to heal, and able to destroy. "No." I shook my head. "This is impossible." I didn't want to hear any more secrets. Didn't want to know any more lies about myself. My life seemed to have always been defined by others. Kane walked to my side, blocking Alina's line of sight. "Enough." Alina looked at his actions, suddenly laughed. "You really have fallen in love with her." Kane didn't answer, but his silence was already the answer. I was stunned for a moment. "Love? No. We were just a contract. Just politics. At least, that was what I told myself. But why, when hearing others say it, would my heart be in chaos?" Alina sighed. "Kane, do you know why the moon goddess chose her?" Cain looked at her. Because of mate. No. Alina shook her head. Because she can end your bloodline. My face turned pale instantly. Cain's eyes changed. What do you mean? Alina approached. Moon goddess prophecy does not let her kill you. But, she looked at me. Let her take away your power when you are at your most powerful. The hall shook once more. I subconsciously looked at Cain. Because this time, even I didn't know whether I would become someone who harmed him. Alina continued. Elena, you thought you were imprisoned because of your beauty. No, what they are afraid of is after you awaken, all alphas will lose their power. My heart sank deeply. So that was it. The reason everyone feared me had never been because I would become queen, but because I could destroy the rule of all alphas. Cain asked in a low voice. What do you want? Alina looked at him. Very simple. Hand her over to me. No. Cain answered without hesitation. Without even thinking. Alina's eyes changed slightly. You know she will destroy your kingdom. Cain took my hand. That is also my choice. At that moment, I looked at his hand. Real. Eyesing for the first time. Maybe. This man truly didn't want my power. He just chose to stand by my side. However, just as everyone was preparing to fight, my body suddenly felt a violent pain. More intense than any before. I knelt to the ground. Silver veins spread from my arms. All the werewolves in the hall transformed simultaneously. Their wolf souls were suppressed by an ancient power. Cain also knelt on one knee suddenly, not because of submission, but because his wolf soul was being awakened by my power. Alina showed a satisfied smile. Finally it has begun. I looked at her painfully. What did you do? She answered softly. I did nothing. Elena, your true awakening requires one condition. She looked at Cain. Your mate must kill you once with their own hands. My blood froze instantly. Cain looked up. His eyes shocked. And in my mind, the moon goddess's voice rang out again. This time, even see. Lyra, choose him, or destroy him. Choose him, or destroy him. After the moon goddess's voice faded, my world was left with only silence. I knelt on the cold floor of the royal palace. The power in my body surged like a flood. Every blood vessel was burning. I could hear the breathing of all the werewolves. Hear their fearful heartbeats. Even hear the heart in Cain's chest, beating violently because of me. No. I gritted my teeth, striving to suppress the power in my body. Don't. Cain immediately took my hand. Elena. His voice entered my ears. Look at me. I looked up. His silver gray eyes were right in front of me. Those eyes that once made me afraid, at this moment held no fear, no doubt, only firmness. Stay away from me, I said tremblingly. If Alina is telling the truth, if I really will hurt you. Cain interrupted me. You won't. How do you know? I was almost out of control. Because you believe in me. Because I am your mate. Or because the moon goddess chose me. Cain was silent. Then he said. Because for 17 years, everyone told you that you were a monster. But the first moment you awakened, your first action was not to attack someone, but to be afraid of hurting me. My eye sockets burned instantly. Because he hit the mark. Even I hadn't realized. The first moment my power awakened. What I thought of was not escaping, not revenge, but him. However, Alina suddenly laughed. How ridiculous. An alpha king actually believes emotion more than prophecy. She raised her hand. The black-armored werewolves began to approach. Cain, have you forgotten? An alpha's duty is not to love a woman, but to protect the entire clan. Cain stood up. His aura changed instantly. The Alpha King's pressure covered the entire hall. All the werewolves stopped in their tracks. My duty, he said coldly, is to protect my people, and also to protect my Luna. This sentence made the entire royal palace shake. The next second, battle broke out. The black-armored werewolves all transformed. Giant black wolves rushed into the hall. The royal soldiers met them. Blade clashed with blade. Wolf claws tore through stone pillars. The Entire royal palace fell into chaos. I wanted to help them, but my power was getting stronger. I was afraid of losing control, afraid of becoming the disaster they spoke of. Just then, a familiar voice came. Elena. I turned my head, seeing Elder Saran standing not far away. He as holding an ancient parchment book in his hands. You have always been deceived. I looked at him vigilantly. Are you one of them too? He closed his eyes. Yes, all of us have been deceived by the previous generation of the royal family. He approached, opened the parchment book. It showed a drawing of a woman. Silver long hair, purple eyes. Exactly the same as me. Ancient text written beside it. The Moon Shah. Dao bloodline is not a destructive power. Its true function is to undo cursed werewolf bloodlines. I was stunned. Undo. The elder nodded. During the ancient war era, the first generation of werewolves had power go out of control. The moon goddess descended a punishment. All alpha bloodlines gradually weakened. Only the moon shadow bloodline can enable werewolves to regain complete power. I looked at Cain, finally understanding why everyone feared me, not because I would take away alpha power, but because I could enable all alphas to shake off the curse they couldn't control. Alina's face changed for the first time. Shut up, she roared. You cannot tell her. The elder looked at her. You are afraid she will know the truth. Because you are not protecting werewolves at all. You want to control all alphas. Alina's facade finally shattered. She smiled. Correct. Because power only stabilizes when held by one person. Cain looked at her. Hi. Eyes cold. So you orchestrated war. Imprisoned Elena. Faked death. All to obtain her power. Alina did not deny it. Her power, plus your royal power, is enough for me to become the true ruler of the entire continent. I finally understood. All the conspiracies, all the lies, all the imprisonment, had not been to hide my beauty, nor had they been to protect the kingdom. It was just because someone was afraid of a free me. However, just as the truth was revealed, Alina suddenly took out an ancient silver sword, the blade engraved with black runes. She stabbed at Cain, the speed too fast to block. Cain. I didn't know where the strength came from. My body rushed over instantly, blocking him. The silver sword pierced my shoulder. Severe pain arrived. But strangely, my blood landed on the blade. Those black runes began to disappear. Alina's face turned pale with shock. Impossible. You actually were able to purify the moon eclipse blade. Cain supported me. His hands were stained with my blood. His eyes showed fear for the first time. Not fear of the enemy, but fear of losing me. Elena, why? I leaned into his arms, smiling weakly. Because I don't want to see someone die to protect me again. Cain lowered his head. His forehead gently pressed against mine. His voice hoarse. Do you know? This is the first time someone chose to protect me. Just at this moment, everyone thought the war was over. But the fallen Alina suddenly laughed. She looked at me, said softly, you won't win. Because the true enemy has already awakened. She pointed to the basement of the royal palace, where an ancient werewolf howl came from. The entire royal city began to shake. Elder Saran's face turned pale instantly. No, that is not the enemy army. That is. He okayed at me, his voice trembling. The first generation werewolf king sealed by the moon goddess 300 years ago. My heart stopped abruptly, and Cain took my hand, preparing to face the true darkness. I once believed the true enemy were those who imprisoned me, were Duke Edmund, were Queen Alina, were those who ruined my life with lies. But until this moment, standing in the ruined royal palace, facing the first generation Alpha King awakened from ancient times, I finally understood. The greatest enemy had always been that voice, the one that told me, you are just power, you are just bloodline, you are just a weapon arranged by fate. Leon Astra stood under the moonlight. It no longer resembled a werewolf, more like a god from the ancient era. A black wolf shadow covered the entire royal palace. All werewolves were unable to get close. Even Cain, this man with the strongest alpha bloodline, was also suppressed by its power. I watched Cain kneel on one knee, his hands pressing against the ground, blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. My heart ached fiercely. Cain. I rushed toward him, but the next second, a huge power repelled me. Leon said in a low voice, "Do you see? This is your choice. Choose an alpha, and then watch him die." My fingers trembled, because it had hit the mark of the thing I feared the most. I was afraid of losing him, more afraid of it than death. Cain looked up, looking at me, his gaze still firm. "Elena, do not listen to it." I shook my head. "But it is right. If my power will kill you." Cain interrupted me. "Then let me choose." I was stunned. "What?" He slowly stood up. Despite his body being wounded, he still blocked in front of me. "From the first time I saw you, everyone decided for you. They decided what you were, decided where you should be locked, decided who you should be a tool for." His voice grew firmer. "But I will know. Elena. If you possess the power to destroy the world, I also believe you will not use it, because the you I know is not the girl chosen by the moon goddess, is not the last bloodline of Astra, just that woman, who still is willing to protect others." My tears finally fell, because at this moment, I finally understood. The true mate, not fate forcing two souls to approach, but in knowing each other's most dangerous sides, still choosing to stay. Leon gave a furious roar. "Stupid. Power is everything. Without power, you are nothing." I slowly stood up, wiping away tears, looking at it. "No, you are wrong. When you lost your power, you feared you would no longer be respected. So you chose to rule. You chose to control. You chose to make everyone fear you. But Cain possesses power, and chooses to protect hers." I took Cain's hand. The mate marks of both of us lit up simultaneously. But this time, different from the past. It did not force us, did not control us. It responded to our choices. Silver light rose between us, illuminating the entire royal palace. Leon retreated for the first time. "Impossible. You are not bound by the covenant. You are actively choosing each other." I looked at it. "Yes. So you have lost." The next moment, my wolf soul fully awakened. But this time, no loss of control, no anger, no destruction. My silver wolf walked out of the moonlight. It did not attack, just stood by Cain's side. Cain also released his wolf soul. A giant black wolf stood beside the silver wolf. Two powers merged, not devouring, but blending. Leon finally understood. The prophecy it had been waiting for 300 years. Had never been waiting for a new ruler, but waiting for someone who could end the old era. Its body began to shatter, but not to be annihilated, but to be taken back to slumber by the moonlight. "Child of Astra," it said in a low voice, "you are stronger than me." I looked at it. "Why?" It closed its eyes. "Because you possess power, but have not been devoured by power." Black mist gradually dissipated. This time, there were no cheers from winners, only all the werewolves silently looking at the moonlight, because they knew an era had ended. After the war ended, the kingdom held a new coronation ceremony, but this time, not to prove bloodline, not to prove who was stronger, but to declare. The werewolf continent had ushered in a new era. Duke Edmund, who once imprisoned me, stood trial. He lost his noble status, spending the rest of his life in the north repenting his sins. Queen Elena was also locked into the holy temple. Before leaving, she asked me, "Why don't you kill me?" I looked at her, answered, "Because I was also someone whose fate was decided by others. I will not become the same kind of person as you." She was silent for a long time, finally lowering her head. The day of the wedding, tribes from the entire werewolf continent came to the royal city. I stood before the altar the moon goddess, waiting for Cain. He walked toward me. No crown, no battle armor, just a man. He said, "Elena, if one day, everyone fears your power again, will you still believe in yourself?" I smiled. I will. Because you taught me one thing. What truly decides a person has never been what others fear, but what one chooses to become. Cain took my hand, completing the final mate covenant. Moonlight descended. The wolf packs of the entire continent howled at once. Why? Years later, bards still tell that story. They say, there was once a girl, imprisoned in the darkness, because everyone feared her beauty, feared her bloodline, feared she would change the world. But they didn't know, the reason she truly changed the world was not because she possessed the power of the moon goddess, but because she possessed the courage to choose kindness. And that once cold and ruthless Alpha King also finally understood. The true king is not the one who possesses the most power, but the one who is willing to lay down power for the one they love. Moonlight illuminates the royal city. Wolf Pack. KS guard the forest. A new werewolf era begins. On the highest tower of the royal palace, Elena and Cain gaze into the distance side by side. There is no longer war there, no longer cages, only free moonlight. And their story also became a legend passed down for thousands of years. On the werewolf continent,